Muslim coach, should you charge high ticket or low ticket prices? 60% of Muslim coaches charge less than their peers for equivalent transformation. And because you have a pricing guild for charging high ticket prices, it is costing you everything. And it's not even Islamic, so I'm going to prove it to you in this video. Because underpricing comes from three roots. First is the theological confusion, where people believe that charging less is just more Islamic, it's more humble, and it's more consistent with the spirit of the service. And this is actually a misleading of what the Quran says about risk and labor that I'm about to share with you in a bit. The second root cause is the audience guilt, where it feels kind of extractive to charge a Muslim fellow a high price. And the third one comes from authority uncertainty, where you as a coach are not certain to charge high ticket prices for your offers. But I'm going to quickly debunk this with three Islamic arguments for charging what your work is worth it. The first one is a hadith where the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Give the worker his wage before his sweets dry." And that's a specific instructions about the value and the urgency of compensating labor at the actual time and the actual worth. So underpricing expertise is not humility. It's just misrepresentation of what you actually offer. And the next one comes from the Quranic verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Disappear in the land and seek from the bounty of Allah." This is an instruction to seek abundant halal income. Not to concentrate, of course, on your worldly desires, but the question here is under what conditions you get your income, which is something I'm going to touch in a bit. And the third one is from Islamic transformation and specifically transactions argument, where a scholar says that skin in the game produce commitment. Commitment produce completion, and completion produce results. Tell me, who is going to take your program seriously? The one who paid $20 or the one who paid $2,000? Of course, the one paying $2,000, because those who pay, they pay attention. But when high ticket actually becomes haram for you, it becomes haram in three conditions. First is when you're selling to the desperate, like closing someone who cannot afford your services genuinely, especially when you exploit in their emotional state. That's when high ticket prices make it worse, not better. The second condition is najaj, where you artificially create urgency and scarcity, saying, "I only have 2 spots," when in reality you have 20. And the third one is the missing right of return, because for you as a Muslim coach, your client must have a genuine, clear communicated right to exit the program if it's not the right for them. Let's see what the math says. Should you charge high ticket or low ticket? Let's say your goal is to hit $20,000 with your business. If, for example, you charge $500 and $5,000, what will happen? For you to acquire a customer worth $500, your cost of acquisition for running ads, production, everything that is related to acquiring the customers, on average will be about $200, which means that your margin per client is $300 profit. So for you to hit $20,000, you need 67 clients. And keep this number in mind, because if you charge $5,000 for your program, your cost of acquisition on average will be about double, which is $400. But worst case, if your cost of acquisition is even $1,000, you still have profit of about $4,000, which means for you to hit $20,000, you need only 5 clients. So ask yourself, which is easier? Sign 67 clients in a month or only 5? I will let you answer the question, because when it comes to halal and haram for high ticket, this is where most Muslim coaches are scared. They're scared to charge high ticket because if they think it's haram. But neither is more halal by default. These conditions makes high ticket price valid. First and foremost is transparency. The price and what is covered should be clearly stated to your clients, nothing hidden. You should provide genuine transformation. Like the program itself should genuinely deliver what you promise. You cannot say to people, I will, let's say, give you X amount of things and you give them nothing. No, give everything. Genuine transformation. And you should never use any pressure tactics, specifically known as judge, like creating artificial scarcity or urgency or exploiting your client's right for their emotional states that you put them in the sales goals. That's why we have the Fadak blueprint that fixes everything. And if you want to see if your coaching business right now is aligned to receive Barak and Halal income, you can click the first link in the description to take a free business Baraka quiz to discover your bottlenecks, and it will give you specific action plans on how to sign clients.